word of welcome to Professor Stella Nkomo to our Northwest University Business School Bonbon interviews. Prof. Stella, we know each other quite well, and I would just want to say you are such a special person in the academe as well as in practice, and I've got such a lot of respect for you. And not only are you an expert and leader in African business, research specifically, but you are also an NRF rated researcher and A-level. I mean, very few people have that, specifically in business management. And you were also the first president of the Africa Academy of Management, which is a very esteemed position, specifically, I think, from a woman's side in the African arena. I think that's something very special. And we really want to applaud you for the fantastic work that you are doing, still doing, and have been doing. You published a lot of articles, and in 2017, an article in the Africa Journal of Managers actually rocked me a little bit. And this article is titled, "Time to Look in the Mirror, Producing Management Theory and Knowledge for Africa." So I would like to ask you a few questions, and you just answer these from your heart.
Okay.
In terms of your current opinion around business research in Africa, just give us a brief feel, look, perception, opinions around the relevance and the impact of the research that we are actually doing in Africa around business.
Thank you, Prof. Duplessis. Yes, I think that we are not doing what we need to do, to be frankly with you. We are doing the wrong type of research. We are in a position now where I call it mimicking. We're just following what the West wants to know. We're not doing what Africa needs to know in terms to have excellent businesses here on the continent that will provide livelihood and well-being for the citizens of this continent. And so part of the issue is that we are not pursuing relevance for ourselves. And when I wrote that article, what I was really saying to my fellow African academics is, look in the mirror. It's up to us to do that. Why would somebody sitting in the West want to study our local issues? So if we don't do it, who will do it? So I was urging us to really go for research that will make a difference in terms of policy, in terms of the success of businesses here on the continent, growing more businesses. And if we look at the unemployment rate among our youth on this continent, that ought to be enough to scare us into saying, we have to help people to find livelihoods. And the best way for people to find livelihoods is to grow the business sector, especially the small business sector. So we need research for now that will give us the future that we deserve on this continent.
Well, that is a very big task for everybody to get in there and really make a specific impact, and not just, as you said, mimicking and following suit, sort of just trailing behind to a certain degree. We've got to push also in front and pull a little bit, isn't that so? So how should we be doing things differently? You've mentioned a few things about what in terms of research, but as a business school, as businesses, as the academe, as practitioners, what should we be doing differently in terms of bringing new knowledge, bringing new expertise in terms of knowledge creation into the African arena?
Okay, that's a long list, but let me see how much I can get out on my list. So I think the first thing I was saying in that article is we got to change our own minds as academics. We have to change our research identity. And, you know, we use the word Africanization. That's a shortcut. So we need to put Africa in the center of our research questions. So asking research questions that are pertinent to Africa. If we don't know what those are, we can start by looking at Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 gives us a good indication. But more importantly, we need to become what I call intellectual activists, meaning look around us. We just can't sit in our offices. We need to get out in the community. We need to go to businesses. We need to understand their problems. And I think we don't have any presence. I shouldn't say that's not true of everyone, but being an intellectual activist means that you do research, not just to publish an article. You do a research because you want it to address the community issues. So the first thing is change our research identity. Then inside the business schools, we have a lot of work to do, Dr. Duplessis. We got to make sure the infrastructure is there for people to do high quality research for the continent. That means having the necessary equipment, research funding, right? A good doctoral program where you have young, eager scholars, that we fund them, that we give them bursaries, and we allow them to study for their PhDs full time so that we can create the next generation of African scholars. And part of the funding, we need to incentivize differently. One of the problems I pointed out in that article is that because in many African business schools and in many universities, academics are not paid good salaries. Not that money is everything, but many of our colleagues try to supplement their income through teaching at many places, right? Or just picking up a consulting contract with some international agency. So I say part of incentivizing research is not to pay people to do research, but give them a good salary and benefits so that they have the time to do high quality research. So I think there are many things that we need to do.
So, but if people read that article of yours, they might get a little bit more about your specific inputs around what is it that should be done. So they can read a little bit more around that. So yes. The last question that I want to just know from you in terms of your expertise and many, many years of involvement in academia, as well as in practice, also as a consultant yourself, is that what advice do you want to give to researchers and perhaps practitioners also in order to become really good leaders and managers in the field of business management and adding real value to Africa? Are there anything specific that comes to your mind that's not just basically research? It could also be practitioners in a bigger spectrum.
Well, I think the general message I would give everyone is that we should basically care about our continent. And I think if you care about the continent, then you have to think, whatever I do, if I'm a leader of a big organization here, I need to make sure my organization is doing things for the continent in terms of the number one problem in this continent is improving the quality of life for people. And so if you take that as your beacon, Yvonne, you will know what to do. I called you Yvonne because I know you so well. Sorry, Rob. But yeah, so I think, I think what has happened is that even some of our businesses, they look at the bottom line. And they must look at all of the important lines, the human line, the environment, and the future of this continent, and see their roles as allowing Africa to become what she can become. And that's what, I came to Africa from the US, and that has been my beacon, like understanding the continent and what people need. So if they take that as a beacon, I think everyone would start moving in the right direction. And also business has to look to academia and not think it's irrelevant. So it's a two-way street.
So moving a little bit nearer towards each other to really get the relevance and the impact. And not just sitting in your own little office, as you said, and trying to follow just suit by just mimicking whatever is going on in the West, but really take responsibility for Africa and actually also accountability for what you are publishing. And it doesn't have to be in academic journals. That's what I'm hearing you say, but also maybe just have a voice, as you said, be an activist for new knowledge, be an activist for Africa in the sense of growth and academia, sort of establishing quality in academia and ensuring that we can really prosper as a continent. And in South Africa specifically, I know you say that you came from the United States, but actually you are very much an African in heart because you've been here quite a long time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you actually walk the talk, Stella. Thank you very much to Professor Stella Nkomo. It's a short discussion, but I think it's very important that we realize we've got a big job ahead of us, and we can make it happen.
Definitely so. Thank you, Professor Duplessis.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.